Okay, I'd like to call to order the May 26th, 2020 meeting of the City of West Palm Beach Historic Preservation Board. Can we please begin with a roll call?
Amanda Slaughter,
Here.
Kristen Kellogg,
Here.
Dan Pinkney,
Here.
Takara Chambers,
Here.
Gabriel Jaroslawski,
Here.
Ben Breslauer,
Here.
Reginald Stanbaugh,
Here.
Nick Casatli.
Here.
Now move on to approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Do we have any changes to the agenda as presented by staff?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any members of the board, would you like to make any changes?
No.
Okay, can we please have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll now move on to approval of the minutes from the April 28th, 2020 meeting. Do you have any changes to the minutes as presented? Okay, seeing none, can we have a motion to approve, please?
I move to approve the minutes from the Historic Preservation Board meeting for April 28, 2020.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We now move on to the report of the Historic Preservation Planner.
Good evening, Frederique Metner, City Historic Preservation Planner. Since the board met virtually last month, staff has reviewed 56 level 1 applications and 22 zoning reviews, and we've completed 2 level 2 reviews, but had a lot of interest in upcoming projects. So even though our numbers were down a little bit this month, still seeing a lot of interest coming forward. So those are our approvals and the work that we've been doing since the last meeting. But I also wanted to share with the board that I've gotten almost everybody's feedback on the awards, and we will actually be making the announcement of the winners at the June hearing.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you for everyone who participated in voting. So we'll now move on to remarks by the chairperson, and I have a script that I have to read for this. So pursuant to Executive Order number 20-69 issued by the Office of Governor Ron DeSantis on March 20th, 2020, and Mayor Keith A. James's Executive Order number 2020-05 issued on April 2nd, 2020, the City of West Palm Beach's boards and committees are conducting meetings through media technology and have released the requirements to have a quorum of its members physically present at City Hall. On April 14th, 2020, Mayor Keith A. James issued Executive Order number 2020-09, which specifically provides the rules of procedure for conducting city meetings, including requirements for quasi-judicial hearings. The members of this board appearing remotely are those that have already been read in during the roll call portion. Do we need to read the names again, or that's okay? To ensure the ability for the public to continue to participate in this public hearing, it is being streamed live and available for viewing in the City Commission chambers located at City Center, 401 Clematis Street, provided that social distancing is required. Additionally, for those wishing to access the meeting remotely, they are able to do so directly through the applicable Zoom webinar link, as well as the city's usual media channels, including WPB-TV 18, the city's website, and the city's YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter feeds. Anyone from the public who would like to provide comment on an agenda item is able to do so through the following. In the City Center Flagler Gallery by dialing 561-320-3872 and leaving a voicemail not to exceed 3 minutes, or sending an email or video recording to hpbpubliccomment@wpb.org, or finally, by completing the online public comment form at www.wpb.org/public comments. Those accessing the meeting directly through Zoom may also use the chat or raise hand features. Anyone using only their phone may raise their hand by pressing *9. Regardless of method, please be sure to indicate the agenda number or case number for which you are providing comment. Everyone providing testimony this evening must have video capability and will need to be sworn in. We will do so at the start of each case on the agenda. If you are about to provide testimony and were not sworn in, please be sure to indicate such and be sworn in accordingly. After the applicant presents their case, staff will provide a presentation, and then the public will have an opportunity to speak or have their comments read into the record from previously received correspondence. The board will then go into executive session. Prior to rendering a decision, the board will confirm no additional public comments have been received by staff. To lead into this, we need to let you know if we've had any conversations outside of tonight's meeting. So we'll begin with a declaration of ex parte communication. Amanda Skyer, I've spoken with Ms. Mittner about the cases on tonight's agenda, but I can make my decisions based on the evidence presented.
Kristen Kellogg, I have a conflict of interest for case number 20-35 and have filed the relevant forms and will be abstaining from that case. And then also for case 20-28, I received the emails from city staff in regards to the updated drawings.
Gabe Jaroslavsky. Yeah, I received the same email from staff for the same case. Other than that, no ex parte communication.
Takara
also-
Chambers,
I'm sorry.
no ex parte communication.
Reginald Stanball, no ex parte communications.
Nick Cassatley, no ex parte communications.
Ken Bresslauer, no ex parte communication.
Dan Pickney, no ex parte communications.
Okay, thank you. We now lead into the public comment portion of our meeting. So if you are wishing to speak on an item that is not on tonight's agenda, now is the time to do so. Staff, have we received any comments or emails or voicemails regarding this item?
I have not. Hope, John, anyone else checking? No.
Okay, thank you. So we'll now move on to the swearing in of our speakers. So if you are speaking this evening, please raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I see we have continued cases. So are we going to hear the continued case before the consent case, Ms. Mittner?
I apologize. That was a typo on my end. It should really be the consent case first.
Okay. So we have one consent case on the agenda, and that's for 227 Grayman Drive. Can we please have a motion to approve?
I move the board to approve consent case 20-35 for 227 Grayman Drive.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion approved for 227 Grayman Drive. Moving on to continued cases from the last month's meeting, case number 20-28, 3308 Washington Road.
And Madam Chair, if we could swear in any speakers that were previously under attendees for this case. I think they were not on video.
Okay, so if we could swear in our speakers. So if you are speaking on this case, please raise your hand to be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Unmute yourself.
Oops. Okay, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on. So if Mr. Yuckies, if you would like to make your presentation, please.
Yes, this case is bringing back to you the certificate appropriate request. However, we were denied a variance. So the subject of the variance was removed from the application and the drawings, which was the front arch. And for the certificate of appropriateness, we changed the elevations. We added windows, we added width to some of the windows, we added shutters on the sides, and we discussed with staff their opinions on things, and in most cases went along with their opinion. We did not change any other size of the unit or roof heights or anything like that, or lot coverage. All that was changed were the facades, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you. And thank you for working with staff on that. Do we have any questions of the applicant?
You're not waiting for me, are you?
No, I'm seeing if anyone on the board has any questions.
Okay.
Sometimes everybody has to think for a moment or turn to the right page in their packet.
Okay.
That's right.
Any questions, or would we like to move on to staff presentation? Okay, thank you, Mr. Yuckies. We'll move on to the staff presentation and we'll circle back if we have any additional questions. Mr. Borngraber?
Yes, just working on the shared screen, that's all.
Oh, okay. It's hard to read body language on the video.
All right, as Steve mentioned, that this is a continuation of historic preservation case number 20 and 28 for demolition and new construction of a single family house at 3308 Washington. This is the project location highlighted in red. The request is for demolition of an existing non-contributing structure and proposed new construction of a two-story structure of approximately 2,998 square feet. The request that you see listed is the original request that was not revised, and this is a property located in the Prospect Southland Park Historic District. This is the site from the street, as existed about a month ago. The neighboring property on the left is adjacent to the north. Based on the property record card that we have, which was an assessment roughly from the 50s and 60s, this was an original two-story portion right here. And then on the right, we have the adjacent property to the south. And this was a two-story addition that was done roughly in the mid-60s. Here we have the existing site. The sandboard on the left indicates the structure that is in the rear. The sandboard was republished in 1952. And then we have the aerial map from 1968 highlighted in yellow for the structure. This is from the Palm Beach Post in 1960, just how the structure looked at that time. Here we have the demo plan, which will remove all the concrete and existing structure, and north is up. Here we have the proposed site plan, the first floor plan, and the second floor plan. And here we have the revised elevations, which were submitted late Friday based on staff's recommendation. And the applicant did revise it to come into compliance. So here we have 4/1 windows with shutters, multi-light French door and side lights, as well as a porthole window up above. We have a multi-hip white cement tile roof. On the left, we have the updated submittal that was submitted, which was emailed to the board. And on the right, we have the original submittal that was presented to the board last month. Here we have the north elevation. which has a number of 4/1 windows with shutters, 6-panel doors, the rear balcony with a spiral staircase. Here we have the east elevation, which features a number of paired French doors, as well as a single French door and 4/1 windows with shutters. Here we have the south elevation, which is entirely of 4/1 windows with shutters. Here we have the rendered view, which is from Washington. The north elevation, the east elevation, which will be the rear, the south elevation, and this is the streetscape. Staff has reviewed the criteria for demolition, and staff has determined that the demolition of an existing non-contributing structure will not represent an irreparable loss to the Prospect Southland Park Historic District or to the city of West Palm Beach. And staff has reviewed the updated drawings as presented. It does comply with the Historic Preservation Ordinance as well as the Secretary of Interior Standards 9 and 10. And therefore, staff is recommending approval of this case with the 3 conditions: that all street-facing glass shall have clear glass only, and all remaining glass shall have clear glass or clear glass below E. That's in compliance with the window and fenestration policy. All single-hung windows shall feature a 4/1 light pattern with external dimensional pyramid buttons. And lastly, all windows and frames and doors, except the 6-panel doors, shall have white exterior frames.
Okay. Questions of staff? Is the
Erin?
port, sorry, go ahead, Ms.
I
Kelly.
just wanted to ask Aaron, could you go back to the rendering? I think you called it the north elevation when you were going through the rendering.
Yes, this would be the north elevation.
Okay, do you know if the intention, and we can ask the applicant, but at that front entry, yes, so at the front entry where the detailing just stops, is that the actual intent?
No, it's a rendering issue. The detailing returns. You're talking about over the front door?
Yes.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. The actual white molding returns to the building.
Okay, thank you.
So Aaron, the background analysis that is in the package is not longer current, right? Since the applicant updated the drawings after this was issued.
Correct. I notified the applicant of staff's recommendation with the staff report that was included in the packet, and then they did a revision, and that was emailed to the board members on Friday, and staff has decided upon further review with the alterations that they did, that it does comply with the requirements.
Okay, and the applicant is aware of the 3 conditions for approval?
Yes.
Okay.
And Mr. Borngraber, with the porthole around above the front door, I believe that's referencing the neighboring property that has one, but is that something you would typically see in a masonry vernacular building?
So staff conducted research. There were several homes, not necessarily in this district, but they did have porthole windows commonly in the center. This house does have an off-center entry feature, but staff found that having something, the applicant wanted something there, and that the porthole satisfied that requirement while still being within that style.
And Mr. Yekis, is that an actual window or is it more of like a decorative detail?
That's an actual window.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I'm not referring right to the floor plan right now. What room is that in?
That would be in the bedroom. Be
Okay.
in the bedroom. Yeah.
Okay.
In regards to that window, I do feel like maybe it's the proportion of solid to void space but it does seem proportionally to be inconsistent with the neighborhood or even the rest of the architecture, just that one window.
That's my concern as well, that it feels small for what it's balancing on the bottom with the doors flanked by the side lights, the single door flanked by the side light.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider changing that to a smaller rectangular window, but because it's inset, I wouldn't be able to put shutters on the side of it. So it'd be a lone window. That's why I went to a different shape.
Could you make it a larger porthole window?
Yes, it's restricted to about 2'4" because that's what the, but I could make it larger by making the recess larger, yes.
Why is it recessed in the beginning?
It's just carries up the element somewhat to the sides, and the recess provides, originally I had a recessed area there, and you requested a pineapple or something like that, and I didn't put the pineapple in, but I put the round window in. So that hasn't changed from the last submittal.
So if you removed the recess, you could have a rectangular window with shutters?
Yes.
I think that would look better and be more in keeping with the neighborhood. I think that detail is more consistent with the neighborhood.
That was slightly larger window because the partition is in the middle of the house between the two bedrooms. So I would be able to, keeping the window centered, I could make it slightly larger, about 3 feet wide.
And what's the current dimensions of that porthole window?
About 2 feet.
Could you make the recess as wide as the front door down below to kind of mirror that? And that would also allow you to make the porthole larger as well.
Yeah, I can make the recess anything we want. It's just the question of a larger window. Because if you go more than, say, 3 feet wide, it's going to hit a partition between the two bedrooms. So yes, I could widen the recess.
Would a pair of windows make sense there instead of a singular window if there's a partition?
Probably not, because the partition that occurs is offset from the front doors on the second floor. So that if you put a window on one side of the partition and on the other side, it wouldn't center over the front door.
Madam Chair, it may be potentially consider just eliminating the recessed niche area completely, and just put a double hung, well, a paired window or maybe a larger single window.
I think that would be preferable. What do the architects on the board think?
Yeah, I think the recess is unnecessary.
Is what? Sorry?
Unnecessary. Gabe?
Yeah, there is the other window that bothers me a little bit also is the one in the bathroom, because it's a fair size. So basically there are 3 large windows, 2 moderate windows, and 1 intermediate window. So I'm just thinking if that intermediate window that is on the bathroom upstairs becomes the smaller window to match the smaller window, and this one also becomes a smaller window also. You know what I mean? So now we have 3 smaller windows on the top, on the second floor, and then 1 smaller on the left on the first floor, and 2 larger windows. You know what I mean? There is a third window that has an odd dimension on the second floor.
Well, the window on the front of the other side, the larger window, should be an egress window. So it should.
The one on the right.
The one on the right, which opens to the front of the house.
Right, and that's fine. The one that I'm talking about is the one in the bathroom that I am thinking if we ask you to change the porthole window, the round window, to a single hung, then maybe that window and the one in the bathroom can match the other two that are on the recess portion on the left.
So you'd want me to do a narrow window to duplicate the bathroom window over the front door, right? Is that what you're saying with shutters?
What do you think, Kristen?
It would certainly be an improvement. So which is correct, the west elevation that we're looking at or the rendering, because they're not matching. The proportion of the windows is different and the proportion of the front entry is also different.
The actual elevation is correct.
Okay, thank you.
I understand that the two narrower windows are recessed, back from the main facade. But I'm just thinking if the round window becomes a rectangular window, if all those should match,
So what we're saying is eliminate the recess, but there is a protruding portion there, and instead of putting the round small window, put a window to match the bathroom to the left, right? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, but if the intention is to eliminate the recess, is the intention to keep the window where it is, which is the wall of the facade, or to bring the window forward so we keep the whole tower element in the facade?
Yeah, if you're asking me to eliminate the recess, I would keep the tower because it creates the second story roof hip coming out to identify the door. So the window would occur at the projection front, which would be recessed from inside the bedroom.
Correct.
And the windows that are in the step back portion of this facade that were just mentioned, I believe one's in a closet and one's in a powder room, if I remember correctly. Yes, right there. Is there any way to push those a little bit off the corner so you're not having the shutter end directly at the edge of the building? It just looks very cramped. Or even remove the shutters on those two windows. It just gets too tight.
You're talking about in the powder room in the first floor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's possible. You don't even see those on my rendering, but you do on the elevation. It is possible to do that. It's a very small sink and a toilet in that room, and you lose.
That window is currently centered on the toilet, which really hurts the elevation because really those windows probably want to be centered on that portion of the facade, right?
I agree.
So then, I mean, I don't have a problem in leaving that odd size window that is on the second floor bathroom, but if we leave that one there, the round window that becomes now a single probably needs to match this one.
Okay, I have no objection doing that, matching the what was the porthole to the bathroom window. I have no problem doing that. And I'll put it on the outside without a recess from the elevation.
Okay. So I'm hearing, I think 2 conditions is to match the window over the entry to the bathroom window on the second floor, which is the smaller window. And then on the recessed portion, on the first and second floor, to center the windows and remove the shutters. Is that correct?
Yep.
I feel like if you center the windows, you can choose whether or not to remove the shutters. You may have enough room. I would leave that portion up to the applicant. But for the first one about the window over the entry, I think we're also saying remove the recess.
Okay. Okay. So Mr. Yackes, do you understand those conditions, and would you be agreeable if they were part of a motion to approve?
Yes.
Okay. Do we want to look at any other elevations? Were there?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking the board. Sorry, it's confusing right now with us all being on video together. It's hard to follow the proper procedure. Aaron, could you please go to the other elevations, please?
Certainly.
And do we want to make it a condition about the molding or the coping continuing around the entry tower?
Yes, it shows that way on the elevation.
Okay.
So
Okay. I'm seeing it here. That's
Yeah.
okay.
I don't have issues in this elevation.
Okay. Can we go to the next one, please? Typically, the spiral staircase would be an issue, but this is new construction. And then the last elevation, please.
Yeah, this is fine to me.
Okay. Okay, if we could go back to the primary elevation. Do we have any further questions of the applicant? Okay, we'll move on to public comment. Have we received any comments from the public?
No, Madam Chair, we haven't received any emails or voicemails.
Okay. So we'll enter into executive session. So it looks like, in addition, I believe there were four. I'm sorry, three conditions, and then I'm not sure how you want to structure the additional ones. If that would be 2 or 3, probably just 2.
Hi, Nana.
So do we have any further discussion, or would someone like to make a motion? And I think I'm supposed to check one last time to see if we have any public comment before we make a motion.
No, Madam Chair, no public comment.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have to do 2 motions, one for the demolition, one for the new construction?
Yes.
Yes, please.
That's correct.
I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 20-28 for demolition in accordance with the demolition guidelines as set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 94-49 of the City Zoning and Land Development Regulations. This motion is based upon the testimony presented, along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence.
we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 20-28 for new construction in accordance with the Secretary of the Interior Standards for Rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 and 10, as well as additional criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, section 94-49 of the City's Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The motion is based on the testimony presented along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence. In addition, the approval of this request is made conditional upon the following restrictions, stipulations, and/or safeguards that I move are necessary to ensure compliance with the purpose and intent of the Historic Preservation Ordinance, the Historic Preservation element of the Comprehensive Plan of the City of West Palm Beach, the Secretary of Interior Standards for Rehabilitation, and the additional criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, section 94-49 of the City's Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The conditions include the following. 1, all street-facing glass shall have clear glass only. All remaining glass shall have clear glass or clear glass with low E coating. 2, all single-hung windows shall feature a 4/1 light pattern with external pyramid buttons. 3, all window frames and doors except the 6-panel door shall have white frames. 4, the recessed portion of the front elevation windows shall be centered. And 5, the second floor window over the entry shall match the second floor bathroom window, and the recess in that area is to be removed.
Okay, do we have a second?
Wait, before you say the second, I think you said that wrong. You said center the recess. I thought you meant remove the recess.
We're talking the first or the fourth condition is for the recess portion on the left side of that elevation. Those windows that are smaller that are in the powder room and the dressing room should be centered on that recess.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's condition number 4, and then condition number 5 pertains to the front entry, second floor window that we discussed.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you for working with the board and staff, Mr. Yuckes.
Thank you.
We
Thank you very
appreciate
much. Okay, thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, just wanted to let you know that the final order for the variance, Federico will deliver it to you at some point to get your signature.
Okay. Moving on to case number 20-34, which is under new business, and that's 814 Upland Road.
If we could please swear in those speakers once they're on camera.
Oh,
Hope you're muted.
muted.
Okay, everybody should be on screen.
Okay, Otis, would you unmute your computer and raise your right hand? Thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
We do.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. And I believe, is this gentleman who's also on the screen, who I think is
Rick?
muted? Are you
Yes.
presenting?
Rick, you need to unmute. Nope, bottom left. John, do you think you could unmute him for us, please?
Yeah, let me try here. Just 1 second. I asked to unmute him, but don't see where he has yet.
Do we want to move on to the next case while we try to figure this out, or wait a couple more minutes?
Did he join with audio?
Yeah, everything was good at the beginning.
We're texting.
Are we on now?
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
And Mr. Davis?
Swear in again?
Oh, we didn't hear your yes.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. I believe Frederic will post the PDF files, but
Yes, I'm going to share my screen so you can see his plans. And Rick, you'll just have to let me know as you want me to move forward.
okay. Well, first of all, this is, you mentioned case 20-34, and the existing house is a small single story built in 1925. There's a detached garage that was added sometime afterwards. It doesn't match the front as much as we will when we're finished. It currently is an existing 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and just over 1,000 square feet. The homeowners are in need of more square footage. What we're proposing is an addition in the rear, still keeping the garage detached. Downstairs, this will allow the kitchen to expand. Should we go to, the proposed plan there. We're expanding the kitchen. We're adding a guest bath and a stairwell. This also allows covered porch space downstairs. The stair leads up to the second story, is entire master suite. That's just over 500 square feet upstairs. And let's see. Our goal is, let me, can you go to the exterior elevations? The existing home has barrel tile on the front, a couple areas of accent tile, and the homes either side are, I believe, single story. So our goal was to kind of tone down the height of the addition in the back, and using the hip roof allows more of the accent barrel tile, as opposed to a parapet structure that would be more of a boxy, taller, more visible addition. So we thought the hip roof was a better choice. It allows some of the treatment around the overhang as well as the accent tile on the roof. And it's over 40 feet back to the addition. So from the street, it's a fairly landscaped lot. It'll appear, I think, to remain as a 1-story structure. The second story is very buried in the back. There's landscape and privacy fences. Now on the driveway, the left side, I guess more so the homeowners driving back to the garage will see the side view, which is really the only visible side of the 2-story addition. And I should go over some of the lot coverages. We are a standard lot, 50 by 125. If we go to the site plan, the square footage tabulation down at the bottom, it's a standard lot that's 6,250 square feet for the lot. We're allowable 30% lot coverage. We get a credit, an adjustment for the detached garage of 4%. So that allows a lot coverage of 2,125 square feet. The proposed addition is still only 1,812. So we're actually only 29%. We didn't need the adjustment for the garage credit. the two buildings will still remain more than 6 feet apart to qualify as a detached. Let's see. We also intend to do some other cosmetic upgrades. The detached garage in the back, as I mentioned, was built sometime or renovated sometime after the main house. It doesn't really match currently, but we plan to add some overhang treatment, some eyebrow overhangs over the openings. And it just has a very plain parapet wall. We plan to add a row of barrel tile to match the front building. Would the photographs help to, assuming everybody has had the opportunity to review the photographs already, you'd be able to see the back garage is a pretty plain building. Is there any questions?
The questions of the applicant?
So what is the tile that you are planning to use for the roof?
This is a barrel S tile, terracotta, to match the existing front building.
Okay, thank you.
So the existing is not a true barrel tile, it's an S tile?
That's correct.
And what is your plan for the windows on the rear of the building? It looks like there's one that's casement. It looks like there's just a lot of different window types. Some have divisions and some do not.
Well, the existing house has a variation as well. And as I mentioned, most are hidden. The two windows you see from the front elevation are in the stairwell. And we matched a similar size to the living room, which is the front windows exactly there. And a similar trim above the window would be used on any of the areas that are visible. We're proposing some faux windows that you'll see to the left upstairs on the front. That's just to add some interest on the blank wall. That's actually not a functional window, but we will duplicate the trim that you see on the front living room downstairs in the main building.
What do you mean by faux window? What is the treatment you're going to have there? There's going to be an actual window?
No, we're actually proposing just a shutter in a closed position to mimic a window that behind the shutter, but it's just a stucco wall.
And what is that room that it does? Okay, that's a better. What is that room that it doesn't need any windows?
That's actually a closet with, there's a laundry on the left window and a walk-in closet on the right window.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned other windows too. In the rear, we have to use a casement window to meet the fire escape, to meet the square footage requirement for the egress windows. And that is the two windows in the center. Those are both in the master bedroom. The window on the left that we're looking at now, that is in the stairwell, just outside the bedroom doors. The horizontal window is in the shower. That's more of a transom window that would be fixed glass.
Okay. I think the shape of that one's a bit of a concern for me. And then the two center windows, that they're not a divided like sash window or like the others on the house. they're just a fixed glass, they're not operable?
That is a casement window, the two in the bedroom to meet the fire escape codes. Or
The two
egress.
in the center,
That's correct.
but it's just a single pane of glass. It's
One
not-
large window that's hinged on the side like a door, but it's a full 100% opening. If we used a double hung, we would get 50% of the opening and not meet the square footage requirements.
You could still do the casement and have the applied partitioning the way that Mr. Steyer
We could
suggested.
add a grill to the casement. It was a request to try to achieve plain glass if possible, because some of the existing house has plain glass. But if that's what it takes to satisfy the Historic Preservation Board, we could do that.
Where on the house is there a plain glass? I remember seeing some in the arches, but I'm not sure.
Actually, all the glass is plain except there's a sunroom in the front left that has a divided light. It has arches too at that one area.
But they're all sash windows.
I thought they were a casement. I don't have that picture in front of me.
The windows in the sunroom are casement windows with the grids.
But on the original structure, there's no casement window that's just one solid piece of glass.
No, the rest of the windows are double hung.
Okay. That's the concern that I'm trying to verbalize, is that that window on those two windows on the rear of the structure are not based on anything on the original portion of the building.
We can add grids.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I think it could go either way. It could either be the 6 light that we're looking at, or the 1/1 to mimic more of a sash or a single hung window. Ms. Skyer, do you have a preference between those two?
No, I'm fine with either. I think that that just is a bit jarring, I think, in terms of having the addition be compatible with the original portion of the structure. So I'm fine with either one, because there is a mix on the original.
So if the desire is to have less partitioning with the windows, as the client seems to prefer, then we would be all right if they were all consistent with 1/1 division. Okay.
That sounds good to me.
Is the 1/1 preferred over the 6 light?
I would really leave that up to the applicant.
Very good.
We'd prefer the 6 light on the casement window.
Okay. I think that would look good for consistency, to have the 3 of them all appear to be 6 light casements.
We can do that.
One more item on that rendering. I believe we've made a change that isn't necessarily reflected here. In that shower area, that window, I think we've eliminated that.
Yeah, we eliminated that window.
Okay.
That would relieve some of the concern of the horizontal window if we remove that.
Yeah, so we removed that.
That's okay.
Do we have any further questions of the applicant? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go into the staff presentation.
Thank you. Yes, you'll see a very similar presentation here for 814 Upland Road for case 20-34. It's a property on the south side of Upland Road in the Flamingo Park Historic District. It is a 1925 Mission Revival home known as the James and Lucille Ebert House, and very charming, one-story with mature trees. And this is kind of what you can see from the street, kind of going down that driveway to that single garage door opening. The request, as you've already heard, is to remove a non-original laundry room addition on the south, constructing a 2-story addition at the rear of approximately 768 square feet, plus a 304 square foot covered porch, and some small modifications to the existing house, including switching the non-original windows flanking the fireplace into casement windows. You've seen the site plan, and actually the addition starts almost 70 feet back from the property line. So we didn't put this item on the consent agenda because we thought it was a significant enough addition, the fact that it's a 2-story to an existing 1-story. But because it's located so far in the back and easily distinguished as a new construction, you'll see in a moment that we are recommending approval. These are similar plans, or these are the plans you just saw. The existing floor plan. This is the portion that will be removed, this little utility room here. The first floor addition, again, it is a rectangle, but it is just offset from the main house, so you can differentiate it, as well as that second floor master bedroom suite. The existing elevations, this was an open porch at one point, so these casements are not original, and we believe these two are actually not original either. So there's some slight window modifications being proposed, and then of course the 2-story addition. Because again, it's so set back that we do believe that the elements are compatible with the headers over these windows and these louvers and the S tile that is also found on that entry feature. On the back, we did have a concern about the horizontal window as well, and appreciate the board's comments on the grids on these 2 windows. Again, it is large and 2-story, but there are 2-story houses on the street. And so therefore, we do believe, taking everything into consideration, it does meet the review criteria and Secretary Interior Standards 9 and 10. And so we are recommending approval with that clarification that the horizontal window is modified to be vertically oriented, or as I believe the applicant just stated, they're removing it entirely. Thank you.
Questions of staff? Any questions of staff?
No.
Okay, thank you. We'll see if we have any public comment.
Madam Chair, there's been no public comment.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move into executive session. So I guess we could modify that staff's one condition that if that window on the rear is to remain, then it be modified to a vertical orientation. And then the second condition would be to add a 6-light division to the casement windows on that same elevation. Any discussion? I think it's such a charming house.
We love it.
Thank you, we love it.
And I love that I get to see into your living room too.
Totally light.
And I'd like to add that the massing of it, even though it's a 2-story addition, is sensitive because it's putting it all the way at the rear of the existing structure. So it's really differentiating it. There's a clear distinction between the new and the old, and you're not destroying historic fabric to extend your program.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I do have the same concern that staff does about the horizontal window. I think that needs to be corrected, but the distinction between the new and the old is wonderful, and it's hard to do. And in Flamingo Park, I think it would really make a good addition. It's nice to see preservation come together with new construction. It's very nice.
Thank you. That was our goal.
Thank you.
Since the applicant has indicated that they had made a decision already to remove the horizontal window, do you think the condition should reflect that should be removed, or should it remain as an optional item?
I thought optional in case they change their mind again, just so they have flexibility there. But I don't know if that's a definitive yes or no, or if you have thoughts on that. We can do it either way.
It's definitive that the window is going to be removed.
Okay. Okay. So we can make that a condition that the horizontal window will be removed.
Sure, we'll remove that on the plan.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Any further discussion, or would someone like to make a motion?
I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 20-34 for ad valorem pre-construction additions and alterations in accordance with standards 9 and 10 as set forth in section 94-49 of the city zoning and land development regulations. The motion is based on the testimony presented along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitutes competent substantial evidence. In addition, the approval of this request is made conditional upon the following regulations, stipulations, and/or safeguards that I move are necessary to ensure compliance with the purpose and intent of the Historic Preservation Ordinance, the Historic Preservation element of the Comprehensive Plan of the City of West Palm Beach, Secretary of Interior Standards for Rehabilitation, additional criteria set forth in section 94-49 of the City Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The conditions shall include the following. 1, the removal of the horizontal rear window, and 2, the windows on the addition will have a 6 light division pattern.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion approved. Good luck on your project.
Thank you very much. Very good. Thank you.
We're excited.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Moving on to our final case of the evening, case number 20-33, 325 Valencia Road.
Madam Chair, just give me 1 second and I'll bring in the applicants. That should be everybody.
Okay, and I believe you need to be sworn in. If you could please raise your right hand and take yourself off mute if you haven't already done so. Sorry. Is everyone off mute?
Rick, I think you're on mute.
There we go.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I've lost picture.
I'm sorry?
I lost picture.
Oh, we can see you.
Okay.
Would you like to, is one of you presenting?
Yes, I'm statewide windows and doors. I have a PowerPoint presentation. I can share my screen here. Okay, do you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so my name is Nikki. I'm representing on behalf of Statewide Windows and Doors. We do hurricane impact windows, so I'll be speaking on behalf of Mr. Richard Headland for 325 Valencia Road. So I wanted to kind of talk about what his current state is of his existing windows, the main concerns and benefits of the retrofit that we would like to do with the impact windows, a little bit about the windows that we'll be putting in, as well as some of our work, if that's something that you guys would like to see.
Sure.
His existing windows, we have a number of pictures here of what he has. Now, with it being, a very old property, you can see a lot of the glass and the frames here are warped. A lot of the seals are broken, so the insulation is not well for them. And I'll go into that more with some of the health issues that is a concern for him, but you can see kind of how the windows are damaged here. Rick, do you have anything you want to say about the two images that are here?
I don't have visual anymore. Is it the one with the red?
Yes.
That is one of the two front windows. There is at least a 5/8 inch to 3/4 inch warp from the bottom to the top of the window. Some of the casement handles are coming off. But in this case, the big issue there is pollen, insect, and easy to access.
So I think you can see down there on the bottom on that right-hand photo, those jalousie window, the cranks that you use to open it, one of them's broken off down there. The next slide here, just very fragile, frail frames, same with the glass here. Obviously not very aesthetically pleasing. A lot of the glass here is kind of stained, just very, very old. Same here, at the very bottom, next to those cranks, just very decrepit. The handles, the hardware looks really unusable. You can see kind of the warping there and the destroyed metal framing.
You'll also see on those pictures that we've taped the windows to keep insect and some of the pollen issues out.
And here this is the front of the home where the glass has been completely damaged. There's a huge crack there you'll see on the right-hand side, which is that panel that's the glass between the grids. So, and in my experience, a lot of these the glass where it's not impact windows, it's very, very difficult to find someone to replace this type of glass. In my experience, haven't been able to find anyone that replaces this because everything is, impact now. Would you say that was true for you, Rick?
I have not been able to locate the glass or a manufacturer.
So a lot of the main reasons, which I'm sure you've heard before with getting impact windows, specifically to Mr. Headland, is the pollen and the allergies that he experiences and that he struggles with in his own health. Obviously, it's not safe with the broken glass and the discrepancy of the windows there and the hardware. Also not being able to find someone to fix that type of glass. He did mention to me that he's having to replace his air filters every month, which I think is pretty standard, but I think for him it's more important and he's having to change those out more than usual. And I believe Mr. Headland, what are your filters looking like right now when you do change them out?
They're very, very dusty. The exhaust or the intake is filled up fully. I use a HP 10, so the best one I can buy.
Right, okay. So, and then like you said before, the dust and the insects of the glass and the frames. Safety, obviously. So your standard benefits that are going to come with hurricane impact windows, resistant from the storms, broken glass, which we can avoid from burglaries, anyone who's going to break in, the impact from a storm if it were to come. We would eliminate having him to change his air filter so frequently, especially with the insulated glass and protecting from the UV rays. So hopefully a lot of that will help him with allergies as well. Obviously the appearance, I'm assuming because we're having to have this board meeting that you guys are very serious about the exterior of the home and, keeping the preservation. the town and the appearance of the homes. So I kind of thought myself that I wouldn't assume that you guys would let shutters up. So I was kind of surprised to hear that shutters were allowed, because it's kind of not pleasing to the eye on the outside. It covers the windows and distracts from the exterior of the home. So obviously when we install these, you'll have a new modern look, and we can tailor them to whatever specific requirements that you need. The homeowner's benefits, the noise reduction from the growing economy outside, again, storms, the health issues, UV protection, as well as protecting from break-ins. And then you have your increased property value, the insurance premium discounts. We do have a lifetime warranty. So if there were anything that needed to be serviced on the glass or the frames, it does have a lifetime warranty, and then energy savings to hopefully reduce Mr. Headland's FPL bill. So the windows that we're looking to install in his home, it's 11 windows. They all have SB70, which is the low E tint for energy efficiency. And they will all be as existing white frames on the inside and the outside. So the manufacturer that we've chosen, this is an aluminum frame from ES Windows. They're one of the leading companies. They do all of the high rises in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, a lot in Palm Beach County now as well. And I'm sure you're familiar with the low E coatings, eliminate a lot of those ultraviolet rays. So there are two types of windows that we're going to be installing there. Primarily, everything is going to be horizontal roller, and the two windows in the front are slide picture slide windows here, where the middle one will be fixed and the two on the side will slide in. ES Windows, that's the manufacturer, so they're ideal for single family homes, which is the elite version of their brand. They will pass all category 5 hurricane ratings for large and small missile impact rated. We'll have the SB70 there, which is the low E glass. It is corrosion resistant hardware, fasteners, stainless steel options, but everything will be white. And it does have a flush frame for the retrofit, which will go into concrete block as well as any wood. This is just a little bit of information about the SB70, the low E. I don't know if you guys are super familiar with it, but we'll be able to keep a lot of the light in the home, but block out any of the solar heat and the UV light. And I just wanted to show you some examples of what that SB70 low E color will look like from the outside. So it does have a little bit of that bluish tint to it. This is a sample of the layout that we have for Mr. Headland. So that's every window that we will be doing, the 11 openings and their location throughout the property. So if you look at the bottom side where it says entry, those numbers 4 and 5, those will be the slide picture slide windows. That will be the front of the home. And then everything around that will be horizontal sliders. And then I just wanted to show you a couple of samples of some of the work that we've done, just to kind of give you that look of how appealing it will be if we're able to replace these for Mr. Headland. So again, everything will be white, aluminum, everything on the left-hand side here. So all the windows, except for obviously the front door here in that top right corner, those are all aluminum frames, white on the inside and outside. Before and after photo. And same here on the top right corner, that blue home there, you can see that will have some of that SB70 greenish blue tint. And same with the one underneath that, the white home on the bottom right corner. So that's kind of what we had in mind. I hope that covered some of the requirements that you guys needed to get this done for him. I didn't know, we were worried about the front two windows having currently there's 2 grids on the outside sliders. So he would prefer to not have the grids there, but if it is a requirement, it is something that we can do and match it to look exactly how it is now.
Well, thank you for that detailed presentation. Do we have any questions of the applicant? Any questions? Okay, thank you. We're going to go into the staff presentation and we'll circle back if we think of anything.
So this is for alteration additions for 325 Valencia. Here we have the project location highlighted in red. So the request today is for replacing existing depression blue glass fixed and casement windows with aluminum horizontal rolling windows in XOX and XO configuration. The existing pattern will be replicated. That's staff's interpretation of the application, but as was mentioned by the applicant, they would prefer not to have the grids. And then the replacing existing aluminum awning windows with the horizontal rollers. Once again, staff interpreted it as having the lights pattern, but they were requesting that it does not. This is also a non-contributing structure within the El Cid Historic District. So here we have the site from the street. This is a part of the window schedule, which illustrates the window opening as well as the rough opening size and the product approval they're using. Here is the window type and floor plan. So the aluminum windows, white frames with solar band 70. Originally, the grids were labeled as yes here, but then no. So staff's interpretation was this is what was going to be proposed. So here we have the aluminum awning windows, which are in the rear. They are 1, 2, and 3. Staff does not consider these original or significant. I believe this was a family room enclosure that's later permitted. So the replacement of these windows is not a concern of staff. So with 4, 5, and 6, so 4 and 5 are the front, and 6 is the corner on the side. These are depression blue glass windows, which are unique and per the window and fenestration policy. Unique windows should be retained, maintained, and then continue to exist. Here is 7, 8, and 9, which just goes up along the side of the structure. Here we have 10 and 11, which is in the rear. Some additional window information with horizontal rollers. In order for the movable X sash to move, it needs to be located behind the fixed O sash, and this red line, which would be the front of the fixed sash to the front of the movable sash, is approximately 1.5 inches. The staff does have some concerns about the visibility as it's at a different plane versus the casements, which would be at the same plane. This applicant already showed photos of the existing windows. These were also provided in the packet. They're using an ES Windows EL200, which is a horizontal sliding window, and XO and XOX configuration. So there are a few other examples of depression blue glass. This one on 52nd Street in Northwood Harbor, one example. Here we have another example in Lake Worth Beach. And this is another example in Lake Worth Beach. Staff did a lot of research for depression blue glass, and it's mostly antiques. There's very few cases of windows, and these were the only 4 examples, including the one that is part of today's application, that actually have it as a part of their windows. So staff reviewed the criteria for alterations based on historic preservation ordinance and Secretary of Interior 6, as well as the window administration policy. Does not comply. Interior historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced, and when deterioration requires replacement of distinctive features, you shall match the fold in color, texture, and other visual qualities, and where possible materials. However, staff is not against replacement, just wanting the ideal best replacement. So originally, for the staff report, it's the recommendation of a denial. However, staff has an alternative for the approval. The applicant shall replicate the existing glass as close as possible. A sample shall be provided to staff prior to resubmitting the permit. The matching glass can be a custom interlayer laminate, tinted glass, or colored glass. A potential alternative is this one right here. However, there may be better alternatives. Would just need a sample. The applicant shall use an external dimensional pyramid mutton as required to match the existing light pattern and provide a mutton detail. For ES windows, I do not know if they provide a pyramid mutton. The applicant shall use an XOX horizontal roller with matching proportions for Windows 4 and 5, or for Windows 4 and 5, they can be a center fixed window with flanking casements. The applicant shall use a single casement with matching proportions for Windows 6, 7, 8. This goes up along the side, which will have some high visibility. And then for Windows 9 and 10 and 11, they can use the horizontal roller and XO configuration with matching the light pattern. 10 and 11 is in the very back, but 9 is in the very rear on the side, which won't readily be visible from the public right away. Another alternative, which I have not seen a sample, is this product tinting glass from PGT, which could be a potential alternative. Thank you.
Questions of staff? Has the applicant had an opportunity to review these conditions?
I have
No.
not.
No, okay.
So Aaron, are you saying, if I understand this correctly, that they can in fact replace the existing blue glass if they do it accurately with these colored glasses that you've recommended?
So I'm not recommending any particular glass.
I understand that, but
yes, this would be the closest equivalent.
okay. So what you're saying is that it would be possible to replace everything if they comply with matching what had been existing there.
Correct.
Okay.
Explain that question or comment.
He's from the staff member or me?
From you, please. And I apologize because I cannot see anyone.
Okay. He seems to, I say ordinarily, we would want to preserve existing glass, existing windows, and particularly in this case, since it's such a unique situation with this blue depression glass.
Mm-hmm.
But Aaron is giving you the option of replacing all the windows as you wish, as long as you're able to match as close as possible that blue glass.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And he would, you would meet with staff, and your vendor would provide us with, or would provide staff with samples of possible blue glass that could be used, and then staff would either approve or disapprove.
Okay. I understand.
Okay.
Aaron, the blue glass, where exists? Is only on the front of the house, or is existing in all the windows?
So all but 3 windows have the blue depression glass. The other 3 windows, which are awning windows, just have clear glass. So none of these conditions actually address the awning windows, as that's not really a concern. They just address the depression blue glass windows, and while you won't find I don't believe it's possible to find an exact match. However, I do believe there is a better match than the Solar Band 70 that's being proposed.
And Aaron, do you happen to have that slide? Maybe you could pull that up again for that Secretary of the Interior standard that showed the deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced. except where the severity of the deterioration requires replacement. I thought I saw a slide like that. Yeah, there you go. Just so that everybody knows what you're recommending and why.
There is a slight difference with this property, right? Which this is a non-historic contributing property, right?
Correct. It is non-contributing. There was a proposal for the resurvey in 2008 for it to be contributing. However, for the final ordinance, it was continued to be non-contributing structure.
And as far as our window policy, is there any differentiation between contributing and non-contributing structures when it comes to the windows?
The policy does not differentiate between contributing and non-contributing.
Now, what the policy says about lowy glass, I think that we don't allow lowy glass on the front, right?
Correct. Per the window and fenestration policy, the front should be clear glass only, while the sides and rear can have clear glass low E coating. However, in this circumstance, there's a very high likelihood that the glass will actually be tinted, just because that will better replicate what is existing.
Correct. Correct. So in this particular case, because we would recommend anyway to have a tinted, a tinting to match what is existing, then there is no reason not to allow for lowy glass on that.
Correct.
Perfect.
In your opinion, the windows that do have the blue glass, in your opinion, are the frames and the other features of the window structure repairable? What I'm trying to get at is this an all or nothing situation? If there is one or two of them that can't be replaced, then, you kind of wind up with a hodgepodge or something.
So based on the photos, I do believe some repairs are possible. To the extent I do not know. However, in this particular situation, it's more of the glass that's unique and less the frames.
Okay. So in that case, a person who is an expert at this type of repair could really, pull the glass and save it if they're very careful, and then rebuild the frames or for the windows. Is that what you're saying?
That may be possible. However, I'm not an expert on window construction, and I'm not sure if that would be feasible because there is the broken panel for the fixed window in the center that might be repairable, but to the extent I do not know.
Okay, thank you.
However, we are going into the same discussion as always, that, regarding the impact windows and, energy efficient windows and, lowering insurance cost, right? So we always go to the same issue.
Per the window and fenestration policy, there are ways to address the impact protection through accordion shutters, pull down shutters. Also, some of the energy efficiency could be done through interior storm windows. However, that's not primarily staff's concern. It was really the glass. However, it is possible to find an appropriate replacement. It won't be 100%, but something that is closer than the Solar Band 70.
Am I allowed to speak?
Do we have any questions of the, I guess first, Mr. Headland, would you be open to the conditions outlined here on the screen?
Since I cannot see the screen,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I forgot.
It is not feasible to repair at least the one window. It's roughly a 4 foot by 4.5 foot solid panel that is broken in. The crack is continuous from upper right to lower left, and then a second one up to the middle of the top. It's just, it can't be repaired.
Okay. Well, I think that the alternate conditions that that staff is presenting for an approval would allow you to replace them. I think the main thing is how the windows appear themselves, both in color and the light pattern. So I guess Miss it's Grimkowski.
Yes.
So are these achievable with the product that are these conditions achievable with the product that you're offering?
Yes, absolutely. The Muntins, the grids, were able to do essentially any sort of detail. There's a lot of different custom designs that we've had to adhere to. So it is 100% possible to make the grid pattern exactly how it is existing. And then as well as the glass color as well, it doesn't have to be SB70. There are a number of other blue glass colors from this manufacturer that are available that I could bring to you, and that might better match this more very vibrant blue. Because the SB70 is a little bit more muted. It's not as blue, but if that is, since it's obviously a huge concern here, there are other ones that I could, submit for approval to match pretty closely.
Okay.
I'm acceptable to that. Is it now the question? Since I didn't see the presentation, is what was the comments between sliders and casement?
That you'll use a casement instead of. Well, I think it's a combination. Could you please clarify, Mr. Borngraber?
Certainly. So for 3, which is addressing window 4 and 5, those are in the very front. Those can continue to be the proposed XOX horizontal roller, just with the same proportions. Okay. Or that could be a center fixed window with flanking casements. One will replicate the functionality better. One will be closer to the appearance because with the movable sashes, some of the framing will be located behind the fixed framing. The big change is for number 4, windows 6, 7, and 8. So these are along the side. It does exclude the window number 9, which is in the very back on the side. And those would just have to be a single casement with the matching grid pattern to mimic the paired casement.
You said a single casement?
It can be a single casement will probably replicate the pattern a bit better, but it could also be a paired casement if that would be easier to achieve.
And the single casement is for egress?
That would be probably better from an egress standpoint. However, that would be a question better suited for building. I do believe building did fail the permit for egress concerns. However, that's not my specialty.
Okay.
So is that something that you would be open to?
A single casement?
Yes. Just on those windows on the one side?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Well, we appreciate you being amenable to staff's conditions. And then you would be able to work with staff to select a color that best matches the existing.
Yeah, I'll get with Nikki and we'll coordinate that. Yes, thank you.
Great. Great. Do we have any further questions of staff, or can we go to public comment? Okay. Do we have any members of the public that would like to speak on this case?
Madam Chair, there's no public comment.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go into executive session. Is there any further conversation, or would someone like to make a motion following the with the 5 conditions on the screen?
My opinion is that, given that this is a non-historic contributing property, it's very difficult not to, allow the owner to replace the windows to achieve all those, basic needs that they have, right?
I agree. Any further discussion, or would someone like to make a motion?
I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 20-33 for alterations for windows as set forth in section 94-49 of the City Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The motion is based on the testimony presented along with applications submitted and the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence. In addition to the approval of this request is made conditional upon the following restrictions, stipulations, and/or safeguards that I move are necessary to ensure compliance with the purpose and intent of the Historic Preservation Ordinance, the historic preservation element of the comprehensive plan of the City of West Palm Beach, the Secretary of the Interior Standards for Rehabilitation, the additional compatibility criteria set forth in section 94-49 of the City Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The conditions include the following. First, the applicant shall replicate the existing glass as close as possible. A sample shall be provided to staff prior to resubmitting the window permit. The matching glass can be a custom interlay laminate, tinted glass, or colored glass. Second, the applicant shall use an external dimension pyramid mounting as required to match existing light pattern and provide mounting detail. Third, the applicant shall use an XOX horizontal roller with matching proportions of the existing windows number 4 and number 5, or the applicant shall use a center fixed window with flanking casements matching the proportions of the existing window number 4 and number 5. Fourth, the applicant shall use a single casement with matching proportions of the existing windows number 6, number 7, and number 8. Fifth, the applicant shall use a horizontal roller, XO, with matching proportions of the existing window number 9, number 10, and number 11.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion approved. Thank you both. We appreciate your help and working with us. I hope you have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
You as well. Thank you very much.
And with that, I believe we've completed our agenda. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
I think that we have something more. We have awards to.
I think we're waiting till next month.
Oh, next month? Oh.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So I move the board to adjourn the meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Great job on your 3rd Zoom meeting, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night.
Getting
Thank
better.
you. Stay well.
Thank you.